In this quiet hour, when the world is wrapped in winter's hush, and the faint glow of Christmas lights warms the cold edges of the night, I want you to pause, to breathe, to feel the stillness that surrounds you. For it is within such stillness that the human spirit discovers its greatest revelations. There is a kind of wealth that is not counted in coins or measured by ledgers, a wealth that begins long before the world ever recognizes it. And tonight, as the soft rhythm of your own breath anchors you to this very moment, I want you to understand something profoundly simple, yet deeply forgotten in the rush of modern life. The richest lives are built first in the mind, sculpted in silence, seated in faith, and watered with unwavering belief. This season, the world will talk of gifts wrapped in colorful paper and stacked beneath evergreens. But the greatest gift you could give yourself, now and in every season that follows, is the mastery of your own thoughts. Every towering monument of achievement, every empire of industry, every breakthrough that altered the trajectory of history began as a solitary spark within the mind of a single individual. Edison stood in the dimness of his laboratory, surrounded by failure, yet surrounded more importantly by the undying conviction that within the shadows he would carve light. Carnegie, born into scarcity, looked at the world not as it was, but as it could be shaped by the disciplined hands of a man unwilling to surrender to circumstance. These giants did not possess more time, more luck, or more favor. They possessed something far more potent, a mind trained to see beyond the present moment. And so I ask you, in this season that celebrates hope, generosity, and renewal, what is the vision you hold when no one else is listening? What do you whisper to yourself in the silent hours? For your mind, like the soil of winter, is quietly preparing the harvest of your future. Every thought you nurture becomes a seed. Every belief you permit becomes a root. And every quiet conviction you protect from the frost of doubt becomes the tree under which you will someday rest. There is a wealth that precedes money, a wealth that precedes success, a wealth that precedes the outward achievements the world applauds. That wealth is the inner certainty that you are capable of bending reality to the shape of your intention. You must understand this. Money follows vision, just as the river follows gravity. Success follows clarity, just as the seed follows sunlight. And every life that has risen from obscurity to greatness has followed the same immutable law, the law that what you hold in your mind with persistence will eventually take form in your world. But too often we allow the noise of the world to drown the quiet voice within. We allow the opinions of others to scatter our purpose like leaves tossed in a winter wind. We allow fear to freeze the very dreams that once warmed our hearts. And yet every December carries within it a reminder that even the coldest night can be pierced by a single star, that even the longest darkness can be illuminated by a single flame. Your mind is that flame. Protect it, feed it, honor it, for it can transform the bleakest season of your life into the most extraordinary turning point. There is immense power in choosing what to believe about yourself, especially when evidence has not yet caught up with your vision. The world applauds results, but creation happens in obscurity. The world celebrates finished symphonies, but the composer begins with silence. The world recognizes the skyscraper once it touches the clouds, but the architect begins with nothing but lines drawn in solitude. Never underestimate the invisible work you are doing right now. Never discount the value of thoughts forged in stillness. The mind that is disciplined becomes the womb of miracles. This Christmas, I want you to reclaim the authority of your inner world. Do not move through this season numbly, as if life is something happening around you rather than something unfolding within you. Look at your own thoughts with a sense of sacred responsibility. Ask yourself, do these thoughts create wealth in my spirit? Do they kindle the fire of vision? Do they lift me toward the life I am called to build? For every wealthy life begins with wealthy thinking, not gloating, not arrogance, but a quiet, resolute certainty that you were born with the power to shape your destiny. If you could strip away every doubt, every distraction, every fear disguised as practicality, what would remain? A truth as steady as the North Star. You are capable of more than you have yet allowed yourself to imagine. And the moment you choose to believe this not casually, not as a passing thought, but as an identity, everything around you begins to shift. The invisible gears of opportunity begin to turn. The doors that once seemed sealed begin to loosen. The people, the ideas, the breakthroughs that were waiting for your readiness begin to appear. So breathe, slow, deep, intentional. You are not here by accident. You are not listening by chance. Something within you is awakening, stirring, remembering the power you have long suppressed. And as the snow settles quietly upon the earth, so too can a new clarity settle upon your mind. The clarity that wealth, like the spirit of Christmas, begins first as a state of being. And as the snow settles quietly upon the earth, so too can a new clarity settle upon your mind. The clarity that wealth, like the spirit of Christmas, begins first as a state of being. And once that state of being takes root in you, it becomes impossible to live as you once did. For something changes the moment a person recognizes their own inner authority. Something shifts when you stop waiting for permission to rise, and instead claim the right to grow, to build, to expand, to become. Every person who ever reshaped the world began with this inner shift. They were not handed greatness. They grew into it. They cultivated it through discipline of thought, through command of emotion, through the unwavering decision to stand guard at the gates of their own mind. And now, in this season of reflection and rebirth, you are being called to do the same. To look at your own life, not as a series of accidents or limitations, but as a field of endless possibility, waiting for the imprint of your will. You must not underestimate the quiet courage required to think boldly in a world that encourages smallness. You must not dismiss the profound strength it takes to maintain vision when those around you have surrendered theirs. For the rare individual who refuses to let circumstance dictate destiny becomes, in time, the architect of a life others call extraordinary. Look again at the stories of those who came before you. Those titans of creation, those pioneers of industry, those thinkers whose minds shaped civilizations. Henry Ford did not ask the world whether mass production was possible. He asked his mind. And when his mind responded with a picture, a vision of a moving assembly line, a vision of ordinary families owning automobiles, the world, in time, bent to match the image he held within. Walt Disney did not wait for universal approval before daring to imagine a world of magic, animation, and wonder. He walked into bank after bank, facing rejection after rejection, yet carried within him a kingdom the world had not yet earned the right to see. They persisted not because success was guaranteed, but because belief made surrender impossible. And now you stand at the threshold of your own becoming. This season, with its lights and its warmth and its quiet reminders of miracles, invites you to step fully into the truth of who you are. Not the version sculpted by fear, not the version trained by scarcity, not the version shaped by the opinions of the small-minded, but the version of you that has always existed beneath the surface, the one with courage, with imagination, with divine authority over your own path. There is a discipline required for such a life, a discipline as precise and unwavering as the ticking of a clock. Discipline is not punishment. It is the sharpening of your focus. It is the moment you choose intention over impulse, alignment over convenience, purpose over comfort. When you discipline the mind, you command the direction of your destiny. For the undisciplined mind drifts as easily as a leaf in winter wind, but the disciplined mind becomes a force of nature, steady, deliberate, unstoppable. And persistence, oh, persistence is the silent companion of every dream that ever crossed the threshold into reality. Persistence is not loud, not dramatic, not boastful. It is quiet, steady, loyal. It is waking each morning with the same conviction, no matter how many doubts attempted to poison you the day before. It is rising again and again, brushing the frost of disappointment from your shoulders, and stepping forward with the unshakable certainty that your vision is worth every step. Those who persist with clarity eventually command results that others call impossible. But even as you reach forward, even as you build, you must remember the importance of gratitude. Not the shallow gratitude, recited out of obligation, but the deep, resonant gratitude, felt in the bones, the kind that transforms perception. Gratitude sharpens your vision. It trains your eyes to see opportunity where others see lack. It opens the currents of creativity and resilience within you. And it reminds you that wealth is not the accumulation of things, but the expansion of awareness. You cannot receive more if you cannot appreciate what already flows through your life. Gratitude turns each breath into abundance, each challenge into wisdom, each moment into a stepping stone towards something greater. Adaptability, too, becomes your ally. The world shifts, the economy shifts, people shift, circumstances evolve, and the wealthy mind remains fluid, flexible, unbroken. Like water, the adaptable spirit finds a way through obstacles, around barriers, beneath thresholds. The rigid mind shatters under pressure, but the adaptable mind transforms pressure into power. When the world changes, the wealthy thinker does not fear. They adjust, they observe, they recalibrate. They remain loyal to the vision, but flexible with the path. And so, as you stand here now, listening in the quiet of this season, I want you to feel the strength rising within you, the inner resilience that has carried you through storms you once thought would break you, the resilience that, like winter's evergreens, remains vibrant even in the coldest of seasons. This resilience is not accidental. It is the product of every battle you have endured, every challenge you have survived, every dark night you have outlasted. Honor it, for it is proof that nothing in your external world has ever had the power to extinguish your internal flame. You are transforming, even now, not because the world has changed, but because you are changing. You are peeling away the layers of doubt that were never yours to carry. You are shedding the limitations that were never true. You are growing into the version of you that life has been waiting for. And as you rise into this truth, wealth begins to take shape, not merely as money, not merely as success, but as mastery over yourself. That is the secret the great minds understood. Wealth begins within long before it appears without. And as mastery over yourself deepens, you begin to understand why the world so often mistakes wealth for something external, something granted by circumstance, or luck, or lineage. But you now know what the giants of history discovered in the intimacy of their own solitude, that true wealth is born from an interior revolution. It is the moment the mind stops bowing to fear and begins bowing only to truth. It is the hour when you finally understand that the limits you once obeyed were never real. They were illusions, inherited beliefs, echoes of voices that did not know your destiny. And in this season, when lights glow against the darkness, and the world pauses to remember that miracles are possible, you are being asked to ignite a miracle within yourself, the miracle of choosing who you will become. Let your vision rise now. Let it stand tall within you, even if no one else sees it yet. Vision is the compass of the soul, the guiding star that refuses to dim, even when surrounded by the night of discouragement. It does not demand approval. It does not shrink under skepticism. It simply shines. Consider the architect who looks upon an empty field and sees a cathedral. Consider the musician who hears a symphony in silence. Consider every innovator whose ideas were once dismissed as fantasy until perseverance turned imagination into reality. Vision is the birthplace of all progress, and you too hold a vision capable of altering your entire existence if you choose to honor it. To not allow the weight of past disappointments to cloud the clarity of your purpose. The past is not a prophecy, it is merely a teacher. And once the lesson is learned, the door to a new future stands wide open. This Christmas mindset calls you to step through that door with courage, to reclaim the brilliance of the dreams you once abandoned, to lift your gaze above the noise of doubt and fix it upon the horizon of what could be. The wealthy mind does not entertain thoughts that sabotage the soul. It entertains thoughts that cultivate strength, courage, and destiny. Purpose begins to reveal itself in those moments when you dare to ask not merely what you want from life, but what life wants from you. Purpose is the whisper in your heart that refuses to be silenced. It is the quiet pull towards something meaningful, something larger than comfort, larger than convenience. Purpose is what kept Lincoln rising from defeat after defeat, guided only by the belief that his nation required his voice. Purpose is what steadied Mandela through the long years of imprisonment, holding him firm in the certainty that his struggle would one day liberate millions. Purpose will steady you as well, if you listen. And when purpose takes root within you, discipline and persistence cease to feel like effort. They become devotion. Every step you take toward your purpose strengthens the architecture of your character, and character is the foundation upon which true wealth is built. Without character, money is fragile and fleeting. Without character, success is hollow. But with character, steadfast, principled, resilient, wealth becomes not merely something you possess, but something you emanate. You become a source of value, a source of strength, a source of vision, and the world cannot help but respond to such a soul. As you grow in this inner wealth, you will notice something remarkable. The things that once unsettled you no longer hold power. The opinions that once swayed you lose their grip. The anxieties that once kept you small begin to dissolve under the heat of your new clarity. You begin to move through life with a calm certainty, as though guided by an inner rhythm that others cannot hear. It is the rhythm of a mind in harmony with its destiny, a mind that has learned to speak the language of abundance. Abundance is not something you chase. It is something you align with. It is a frequency you tune into by commanding your thoughts, honoring your vision, and holding gratitude in your heart. When your thoughts resemble scarcity, your life mirrors scarcity. When your thoughts resemble abundance, your life expands to match it. The wealthy Christmas mindset is not seasonal cheer. It is the awakening of a universal truth that life becomes generous to those who become generous in thought. And now, let us return to the present moment, the quiet breath, the soft glow, the stillness in the air. Feel the vastness within you. Feel the power rising subtly, but steadily. Feel the sense that you are on the edge of something not yet named, but deeply felt. This is the threshold of transformation. This is the moment when you stop asking whether you are capable and start declaring that you are destined. Destiny is not a prize awarded to a select few. It is a path carved by those who dare to walk it with courage and conviction. You are stepping into a new identity, one with clarity of mind, one with firmness of spirit, one with a heart anchored in gratitude, and a vision unshakable in its purpose. This identity is not built overnight, but it begins in a single moment, a moment like this one, when you decide that the old patterns no longer define you, that the old limits no longer confine you, that the old fears no longer command you. You are transforming not into someone new, but into the person you were always meant to be. And as you rise into the person you were always meant to be, something extraordinary begins to happen within you. Something subtle yet unmistakable, like the first light before dawn, or the faint stirring of wind before a great shift in the weather. You begin to sense a widening of possibility, a loosening of the chains that once held your mind hostage. You begin to recognize that every obstacle you have faced, every disappointment you have endured, every night you have spent wrestling with uncertainty, was preparing you for this awakening. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was meaningless. Every moment sharpened you, tested you, refined you, into the vessel capable of receiving the very life you once believed was meant only for others. This is why inner wealth matters, because the world reflects not what you wish for, but what you embody. And when you embody strength, life arranges itself around strength. When you embody clarity, doors appear where walls once stood. When you embody vision, the path you walk becomes illuminated by opportunities invisible to the undisciplined mind. Real wealth is not the stacking of currency. It is the stacking of identity, the layering of character upon conviction, belief upon purpose, discipline upon vision, until you become the living expression of abundance itself. Consider the sculptor, standing before an unshaped block of stone. The world sees only cold granite, but the sculptor sees what lies beneath the surface, the figure waiting to be free. You too are sculpting yourself. With every decision, every thought, every choice you make to rise instead of retreat, you chip away the unnecessary, revealing the strength, the brilliance, the potential that has always been hidden within you. The wealthy Christmas mindset is not about acquisition. It is about revelation. It is about unveiling the treasure of your own spirit. And once you understand that treasure, you stop participating in the scarcity that dominates the lives of those who have forgotten their own inner power. Scarcity is not a condition. It is a mindset. It whispers that there is not enough time, not enough opportunity, not enough talent, not enough permission. But abundance speaks a different language. Abundance whispers that the world expands for those who expand their thinking. That opportunity multiplies for those who act with courage. That wealth gravitates toward the individual who dares to believe they are worthy of creating it. Look at the legacy of those who shaped history. Did Abraham Lincoln wait for perfect conditions before he pursued his purpose? No, he stepped forward in the midst of turmoil, doubt, and division. Did Andrew Carnegie begin his journey with guarantees of safety or success? No, he began with a fiery determination to rise above his circumstances, and his mind became the forge in which his future was crafted. Did Edison question whether 1,000 failures defined him? He understood that failure is merely feedback, a redirection of effort, a refinement of approach. These individuals were not born extraordinary. They became extraordinary by disciplining their minds to see possibility where others saw only limits. And so must you. For every dream you hold within you is calling out for the courage of your commitment. Dreams are not fragile, they are persistent. They linger in your heart long after logic has dismissed them. They whisper to you in quiet hours, reminding you of who you are capable of becoming. But they require your partnership, they require your belief, they require the steady hands of discipline, and the unshakable spine of persistence. Without these, dreams wither, but with them, dreams roar into life. And while the world outside might measure success by possessions, the world within measures success by growth. Your growth is your greatest asset. Every moment you elevate your perspective, refine your thinking, strengthen your convictions, you increase your internal worth. And it is this internal worth that manifests as outer wealth, opportunities drawn to you like metal to a magnet, success unfolding with a sense of inevitability. Do not rush this process. Wealth created in haste collapses in haste. But wealth created with intention, built upon the firm foundation of purpose, discipline, and gratitude, becomes unshakable. It becomes generational. It becomes the kind of wealth that expands not only your life, but the lives of all who come after you. So breathe again, slow, aware, intentional. Feel the strength that now roots itself deeper within you. Feel the shift in your posture, in your thinking, in the energy moving through your spirit. You are no longer merely hoping for change. You are becoming the change. You are aligning with a life that once seemed distant, but now feels inevitable. You are stepping into the identity of a thinker, whose mind is no longer governed by fear, but guided by purpose. And as you continue to mature in this new identity, you will discover a quiet confidence rising within you. A confidence not dependent on applause, validation, or external confirmation. It is the confidence of someone who knows who they are becoming, someone who has made peace with the journey, who moves forward, not in haste, but in certainty, someone who recognizes that wealth is not something chased, but something cultivated from within. And as this quiet confidence settles deeper into your being, you begin to understand something that perhaps you have sensed your entire life, but never fully named. The world does not respond to the person you pretend to be, nor to the person you wish you were. It responds to the identity you claim. Identity is the great architect of destiny. It is the silent force shaping your decisions, your habits, your expectations, your interpretations of reality itself. And when you shift your identity, everything around you rearranges to match the new shape of your inner world. This is why the wealthy mind rises even from situations that appear hopeless to others. It is why some individuals, starting from nothing but grit and belief, ascend to heights others deem unattainable. They live from an identity unshaken by circumstance. You must decide who you are becoming, with the same solemnity that a commander issues orders before battle, not casually, not softly, not timidly, but with conviction so clear that doubt has no foothold. Are you someone who waits for life to grant permission, or someone who understands that permission is granted the moment you decide to take responsibility for your destiny? Are you someone who interprets obstacles as signs to retreat, or someone who recognizes obstacles as the sculptors of strength? Are you someone who reacts to circumstances, or someone who creates them? Understand this: identity is not formed by wishful thinking. It is shaped by the repetition of powerful choices, by thoughts selected with discernment, by actions aligned with purpose. Just as the blacksmith hammers molten metal into form, you hammer your identity into shape through disciplined thought and deliberate behavior. And once that identity becomes solid, life can no longer treat you as it once did. The world recognizes the presence of a mind that commands its own direction. In this season, as countless lights glow in windows and streets. Let those lights remind you of the flame within you, a flame capable of illuminating the darkest fears that once held you captive. You are not here to live as a spectator of your own life. You are here to participate in the grand unfolding of your potential, and the truth is that you have always known this, even in moments when life tried to bury that knowledge beneath layers of doubt. But the flame never extinguished. It dimmed, perhaps, but it never died. And now it grows brighter. With every thought you elevate, every belief you strengthen, every step you take toward your own becoming. Wealth at its deepest level is the expansion of possibility. It is the ability to move through life with the authority of someone who has mastered the inner world. It is the freedom to create, to give, to build, to rise. It is the alignment of spirit and action, the harmony between what you desire and what you believe you deserve. Real wealth is not loud. It is not boastful. It does not parade itself through hollow displays. Real wealth is quiet, steady, rooted. It is the person who moves with intention, who speaks with clarity, who lives with purpose. Wealth is the outer expression of inner order. And as this inner order takes hold, you begin to see the world differently. You notice opportunities that once blended into the background of your awareness. You recognize strengths within yourself that once hid beneath doubt. You attract the people, resources, and ideas that match the frequency of your growing vision. This is not magic. It is alignment. It is the natural consequence of a mind that has trained itself to see abundance rather than limitation. But remember this, the path to a wealthy mindset is not carved through ease. It is carved through the willingness to confront yourself, to face the fears you once avoided, to dismantle the beliefs that once imprisoned you, to acknowledge the habits that no longer serve your future. Transformation requires honesty. Honesty with yourself. Honesty about what you want, what you fear, what you avoid, and what you are capable of. Only when you are willing to face the truth can you rise into the potential the truth reveals. Do not fear such honesty, for within it lies your liberation. When you strip away excuses, when you release the stories that keep you small, when you stand unshielded before your own reflection, you discover the incredible strength that has been waiting beneath the surface. Strength that can withstand any winter. Strength that can overcome any challenge. Strength that can build a life worthy of the vision in your heart. And so as you breathe now, slowly, deeply, you may feel something awakening within you. A sense of readiness, a sense of resolve, a sense that this season is not merely a holiday, but a turning point, a pivot, a sacred moment in which you choose to step beyond the boundaries of your old self. You are not the same person you were even moments ago. You are evolving, expanding, rising. You are aligning with wealth, not as a distant dream, but as an identity being born within you right now.